I am a higher school student and I can't study further due to lack of money. So, kindly subscribe to my channel. Please like my videos and watch my videos regularly. Also, kindly share my videos. By this I can get revenue and I can study further. Thank you.
Extraction 2 was released by Netflix on June 16, 2023. Welcome to the world of Extraction 2, an action-packed thriller that will leave you on the edge of your seat. Building upon the success of its predecessor, Extraction, this highly anticipated sequel takes the intensity and adrenaline to new heights. Directed by the talented Sam Hargrave and featuring a star-studded cast, Extraction 2 is an explosive journey that delves deeper into the dangerous world of black market mercenaries and high-stakes missions. Set in exotic and gritty locations around the globe, Extraction 2 follows the enigmatic and fearless black market mercenary, Tyler Rake, portrayed once again by the charismatic Chris Hemsworth. As a former Australian Special Air Service Regiment soldier, Rake is known for his unmatched combat skills and his willingness to do whatever it takes to complete his missions. In this installment, he finds himself embroiled in a deadly mission filled with treacherous enemies and moral dilemmas. This time, Rake is tasked with rescuing an important figure from the clutches of a ruthless international crime syndicate. As he navigates through a labyrinth of danger and betrayal, Rake must confront his own demons while battling hordes of heavily armed adversaries. The stakes are higher than ever as he races against time, fighting to complete the extraction before it's too late. With breathtaking action sequences, heart-pounding suspense, and jaw-dropping cinematography, Extraction 2 promises to be a thrilling cinematic experience. The film combines high-octane combat scenes, intricate storytelling, and complex character development, leaving audiences captivated and eager for more. Prepare to be immersed in a world where alliances are fragile, loyalties are tested, and survival is paramount. As Rake fights his way through a relentless onslaught, he must confront the consequences of his actions and face the ultimate question: what lengths will he go to in order to save a life? Extraction 2 pushes the boundaries of the action genre, delivering an exhilarating and emotionally charged sequel that will leave audiences breathless. Get ready for an adrenaline-fueled adventure that will have you on the edge of your seat from start to finish. The Extraction saga continues, and it's bigger, bolder, and more explosive than ever before. Overseen and conceived by the Russo brothers of Marvel fame, the Extraction films are an example of a dwindling breed, the big-budget, super-violent adventure. Whether the main character is named John Rambo, Jason Bourne or John Wick, he's a variant on a type, the prolific killer who'd prefer not to kill anymore but keeps getting pushed back into it. He has a tragic past and is grieving over it. And he's played by a guy who's so ferocious in violent scenes that you'd believe that he could take 100 blows to the head, face, and torso, plus a gunshot, a knife wound, and a grenade concussion, and keep going. Critic Robert Brian Taylor calls these movies part of the sad action hero canon. Chris Hemsworth is its most notable new member. He plays Tyler Rake, a young boy's idea for an action hero name, but Hemsworth makes him seem almost like a real person. He's a tremendous physical actor, possibly as good as Schwarzenegger and Stallone in their primes, but with more range. He's played a scheming male bimbo, a legendary computer hacker, a depressed mercenary, a 19th-century whaler, a cult leader, and the mighty Thor, all convincingly. He's got a bit of the young Sean Connery's self-aware swagger as well. But there's also a buried sadness to him, and that's what the Extraction films dig out. Tyler used to be a Special Forces soldier with the Australian Army. He chose to go to Afghanistan for yet another tour of duty while his son was battling an incurable disease and was not present when the boy died. Then his marriage fell apart and he became a mercenary. Guilt over husbandly and parental failure is as much of a driving force in the Extraction franchise as amnesia in the Bourne films and mourning in the John Wick series. Tyler's adventures are redemption stories, set in action movie purgatories filled with shadow versions of the hero, defective fathers who mistreat, neglect, or warp their children and see them as extensions of their ego or brand. Tyler's main enemies are dark parents who could be stand-ins for Tyler's own masochistic feelings about how badly he failed his family. The first, Extraction, showed Tyler rescuing the kidnapped son of an Indian drug lord who was being held in Dhaka, Bangladesh. The kid was a pawn in a pissing match between rich bullies with private armies. In accepting the mission, Tyler sort of offered himself up a karmic punching bag, absorbing punishment for his past mistakes in an urban hellhole purgatory. In the original graphic novel, the setting was Paraguay, while serving as a quasi-father figure to the boy he was protecting. In this one, an unnamed man, Idris Elba, so charming that one hopes he'll be in the third one, shows up at the cabin in the woods where Tyler is recovering from the previous mission and delivers a message from his ex-wife, who, as it turns out, is Georgian. Her sister and her children are being held in a Georgian prison by her drug dealer husband David Tornik, who had the clout to get them all ensconced with him. Rake is hired to bust the family out of prison and take them away from David and his brother Zurab Tornik, who's even more of a psycho. Complications ensue. All you need to know is that the film is 3 long action sequences with a bit of character development sprinkled in. The first is an uninterrupted 21-minute action sequence following Tyler and the family through a wild prison break and onto a train that's chased across the tundra by helicopters filled with armed thugs in body armor. Any thugs who aren't killed in midair drop onto the train and fight Tyler and his 2 allies, Nick Gulshifte Farahani and Yaz Adam Bessa, with guns, fists, knives, and whatever objects are lying around. Director Sam Hargrave, a former stunt coordinator who made his directorial debut on the first, Extraction, takes the digitally stitched together, super long, oneer that was introduced to viewers in mid-aughts films like Steven Spielberg's War of the Worlds, and Alfonso Cuarón's Children of Men, and pushes it to ostentatious but admittedly dazzling extremes. Like the long take in the original, Extraction, it has a video game feeling. Cinematographer Greg Baldi's camera often adopts a first-person or over-the-shoulder vantage point, as in a shooter game. The point of view moves in and out of moving train cars, varies its distance to get tight close-ups of people's anguished faces or panoramas full of moving vehicles and people, and generally does things that are against the laws of physics as well as the rules of production insurance companies. Despite the Eastern European blue-gray filters and bloodletting and bone-crunching, you're aware that the sequence is no more real than the Avengers battling Thanos. Some composited landscapes and helicopters don't pass the believability test, and a few big camera moves that take us from outside to inside and vice versa are too clever for their own good. But it's all so intricate and expertly timed that you still appreciate it, as one might a performance of a fiendishly difficult piano concerto where just hitting the notes is beyond most players' capabilities. The other 2 major sections of the film are modeled, respectively, on the first, Die Hard, and one of John Woo's classic doppelgangers battle each other films, probably The Killer, which, like this film, climaxes in a candlelit church with doves fluttering about. They're imaginatively conceived and executed with no fuss virtuosity, though the cutting is sometimes too frenetic and the camera work too wobbly. A lot of the time, Hargrave is doing a modified version of that Russo Bros, shaky equals excitement, style. But they face the unusual problem of being good enough to anchor nearly any other action epic yet feeling like a letdown because they must follow that jailbreak to railway sequence. There's also a subplot about one of the ex-sister-in-law's kids, Sandro Andro Japaridze, who has been trained from birth to be a gangster just like his dad and uncle, supposedly being torn between recognizing his family's multi-generational legacy of violence and brainwashing and choosing to go in a different direction, or taking up arms against the hero to get payback for Tyler killing one of his loved ones during the jailbreak. Anybody who's seen a sad action hero movie knows how this part of the story will turn out. They're not going to write out Chris Hemsworth, so you play the waiting game. Hemsworth and everyone playing characters connected to Tyler's past mistakes and present-day issues are thoughtful actors. They take this assignment seriously. They dig into the psychological trauma and guilt aspects of Joe Russo's script, imbue them with a graphic novel variant of seriousness, i.e., Pulp Fiction played solemnly, and briefly elevate Extraction 2 inches beyond glorified video game status. But there's not enough dramatic substance, either in the writing or the marketplace capped amount of screen time, to satisfyingly flesh out Tyler and his immediate circle. The film is single-mindedly focused on giving viewers more and more bang bang. It wants to be a John le Carré novel and a cinematic equivalent of a shooter game at the same time. The first, Extraction, nearly pulled it off in scenes where Tyler bonded with an old merc buddy played by David Harbour, who was even more cynical than Tyler and turned out to be untrustworthy. It gets close again here in a scene where Tyler faces his deepest regrets directly in conversation rather than by encountering them as metaphors when he's on the job. But for the most part, the series hedges its bets to appeal to what it apparently considers its main audience, viewers who deem anything related to characterization and atmosphere to be filler. Still, you might appreciate the series' attempts to anchor military-adjacent shoot-'em-up adventures in something like reality, and give all of its major characters situations to play that are a step above the standard action film tropes. Where most contemporary Hollywood movies are aimed at the child in every grown-up, the Extraction films speak to the potential grown-up in every kid. Although it's rated R, its ideal audience might be 12. The scenes between parents and their disappointed offspring capture that feeling you have when you're young and suddenly realize that the adults you once revered are human beings who can fail you and are often faking it. In June 2023, at the Netflix Toodum Festival for the year, it was announced that Extraction 3 is in development. Stated that the company identifies Extraction as a franchise, the official logo was revealed. Chris Hemsworth will reprise his role as Tyler Rake, with Sam Hargrave once again serving as director. In conclusion, Extraction 2 exceeds expectations as a worthy sequel that successfully builds upon its predecessor. With its intense action, compelling characters, and thought-provoking themes, the film delivers a thrilling and immersive experience. It is a testament to the talents of the cast and crew, leaving fans eagerly anticipating what lies ahead in this captivating franchise.